And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to FSU Coach Live. My name's Tim Backhurst, joined with a special guest this afternoon, Sergio Scariolo. Thank you so much for joining me. You have quite a history in basketball and coaching. If you wouldn't mind, give us a little introduction to yourself and how you got to where you are today.
Hi, team. Hello, everybody. Well, I'm pretty old. I mean, I just turned 59, so it's going to be a long journey. I started my sports experience swimming and playing soccer, like everybody in Italy, where I was born and raised. Then I moved to another neighborhood, and in that neighbor, kids were playing basketball, so I started to play basketball around 13. I physically grew up very early, so I get into the let's say put a foot into the pro team of my city. Unfortunately, I broke my Achilles on the preseason of that first year as a 11, 12 player of the pro team. I was able to get back and play 11 minutes in two games at the end of the season. But during that year, I started to coach. They gave me, just a 12, 13 years old kids to start coaching, and I enjoyed it. I liked it. Then I played 3 more years, but not at the pro level, the semi-pro level. At the same time, I was keeping studying. Of course, I was going to university. I finished my law. I got a law degree, but I already decided that my road was basketball. I mean, my passion, what I wanted to do as for a living, a little bit against my family, which wasn't his an academic oriented family. My dad was he passed away, but he was college math teacher. My mom was still living. It was biology and chemistry teacher. So as you may understand, they didn't like too much. Say that what you talk a law degree and then you want to to work as a basketball coach. But they understood that was my choice. I finished my studies, and I don't regret it at all. I mean, it was great to finish college and to even reward my parents for all their efforts with that diploma in a frame. But my last year in college, I was already working as a second assistant in the pro team where I used to play a few years before, and from then was kind of making very, very quick steps. I was very lucky because I had two great head coaches in my first two professional assistant coach stints in Italy. And when this second head coach left to go to coach the Rome team, where big players like Brian Shaw and Dino Raja just joined for this big project, they decided to promote me from assistant coach to head coach. And I was lucky enough to win the championship in my first year.
Wow.
29. And from then was, staying in Italy for a few more years, then going to Spain, again, being lucky enough to coach very good teams, to win a few titles. Then from there to Russia for 3 years, and then to Milan, back home, relatively home, because my hometown is very, very close to Milan. And at the same time, I had started my experience with the Spanish national team. And again, I was pretty lucky. We won a few European championships, few Olympic medals. And then 2 years ago, Nick Nurse's proposal was really extremely, the temptation was really high. I had been talking with a few NBA teams before, but that was really a very complete one from basically every standpoint. So I decided to join them in the Raptors coaching staff, continuing, of course, with the national team, with which we won the World Cup, the World Championship last summer, and again, lucky enough to be part of the Raptors winning the NBA championship game, and then new season, great season. Just broke temporarily, hopefully broke up for a few months. Let's see if we can restart, because we had a great feeling. We had a great feeling when we stopped about this season.
There's a lot of questions I have for you, because you have such a unique background compared to many coaches, because you've been in different countries, you've worked with national teams, professional teams, you've coached as a head coach and as assistant coach at the same time. But I want to start with something you said. You said lucky 3 or 4 times about winning championships. But a lot of it is not luck, and a lot of it is physical preparation, mental preparation, good coaching. What is it that creates winning teams? Because you've won a lot of championships and Olympic medals, world championships, and an NBA championship. So in your opinion, what makes that a success? How do you become successful?
Well, first of all, I don't think there is a secret formula which is valid for every different team. I'm a little bit skeptical when I read or hear, hey, this is the main thing. This is the 2 main things. I mean, teams are different. The pro level, you have different personalities, different citizenships, different languages, different ages. You have veteran, you have more veteran teams, more young teams. I mean, I've been around enough to understand that as a coach, of course you got to have a philosophy. No question that you got to have a few strong values, a few strong principles, but not too many, because the flexibility, the capacity to adjust to the situation, to the environment, to to the personnel you have, the whole organization you have around is a main skill, becoming even a value if you accept this. Because again, I would say that probably my profession have just 2 principles, which I believe are helping my job as a coach if I see them implemented and reflect. I mean, reflected into my team. If my players, I see that they are on board, they bought it in. First of all, is to share the ball, and second is everybody try to play defense. Everything else is you can add, subtract. I mean, you can have wrinkles, you can have different nuances, but these 2 are, in my opinion, non-negotiable. In other words, the chemistry is probably given a certain amount of talent, which of course should be the base in any activity at the top world level. But then I'm firmly convinced that chemistry is more important than having an extra amount of talent.
You are an assistant coach with the Toronto Raptors. You're a head coach of the Spanish national team. What are the differences in your roles and responsibilities?
Well, it's a huge difference, of course, because as a head coach, you are basically someone who should be able to delegate into your assistant coaches. You got to set the tone, of course. You got to set the main principle. And then you have to delegate and be the final receptor of the different proposal and the final decision maker. As an assistant coach, you are probably a little more in touch with the game itself. You can dig deeper into the XSOs, strategies, and you have, according to your responsibility into the coaching staff, the task to propose your game plans, your view to the head coach, but somebody else is going to make the final decision. Of course, I would recommend never to accept an assistant coach job if you don't feel that your personal philosophy is very close to the head coach one. Maybe it's not the same, because of course everybody's different, and we probably two exactly same philosophies are not even existing, right? In two different persons. But you got to be close enough to not not go through every given day through that situation, which is, I see black, he sees white. I'm proposing black, and says no, I'm gonna do white. That's gonna probably, is not gonna bring anywhere. If you are there, you will still have sometimes situation where your ideas will be probably not exactly the same as your head coach, or when your proposal will not be accepted, or maybe the timing of your proposal is not the right one. Maybe you have to keep it and save it for a different moment. And then if this happens, if he doesn't accept it, if he doesn't like it, that's not a big deal. I mean, you have to continue making your job. You have to continue keeping your ego, very, very much in a corner, and not feel disrespected, or not feel like okay, probably he doesn't like me, and I'm not going to propose anything anymore. I mean, which sometimes happen. I heard it's just okay. In 2 minutes, I will come out with a new idea. I hope you will like this more. Otherwise, in 4 minutes, I will come up with a new idea. And I mean, it's like exactly like feeling a team. Like when we ask to our players to be team players, this is the same. I mean, you have to understand that the main goal is not that the team is doing exactly what you are proposing. The main goal is to win. And if we are winning, not doing exactly what I propose, but with some changes and some different ideas, we got to be fine, because we are team players, and the bottom line is that team should win. So again, is a matter of understanding your role, like in any other organization. Like for example, again, we ask to our players. We have the go-to guy, we have a role player, we are coming off the bench, we're a starter, and everybody got to try to do his best and put the head coach in a situation where he is in trouble to pick up one option over another one, but at the same time accept that your option is not always the one which is gonna get picked up.
You've coached in 4 different countries: Italy, Spain, Russia, and now the United States. How did you become familiar with the sport in that country? How did you fit into the culture? What things did you do to make sure that you were going to be successful in those countries? Because, for many of us, myself included, moving to another country can be a big culture shock, and there's maybe different philosophies in the sport. What strategies did you have to be successful to do that?
Well, I got to start from the fact that in Europe, since we have so many different countries, we have many neighborhoods, on the east, the west, on the north, on the south. We are a little bit more accustomed to get in touch with other countries, learn from other countries, visit other countries, and again, this is a probably much better starting point than in general in North America, where even of course for the greatness of these countries, many people don't even need to look at other countries like models or patterns to follow. We are probably more poor, more limited, so we had to try to figure it out, how to improve, how to steal ideas, and how to be able to understand different mentalities, different even ideologies. So I would say that my biggest change was when I get to Russia. When I got the job there, even if I have been studying Russian language for almost 1 year, well, 6 months correctly, that was a big change because it's really, really different from Europe, where I had been living Italy and Spain my whole life, and the US, which I've been visiting for minimum a couple of weeks every year since I was 21, 22. That was a big change. And again, you had to adjust. I mean, you can't go there and okay, probably they hire you to expecting that you're bringing something new and something better, right, from what they have. But at the same time, you can't get there saying, I will change 99.9% of the stuff here. I mean, that would be completely wrong, especially in a very proud country with a very, very proud people like Russians are. So the first step was, and is, my opinion, learn the language. I mean, it's absolutely, well, I would say mandatory, but it helps a lot to have a chance to understand. You don't need to become. You don't need to become necessarily fluent in all language of the place where you are living, but you got to be able to understand those words which give you extra data about extra information about how people are feeling, and you can make them even feel that you are trying to get close to them. You're making one step towards them, not just staying in your position, speaking your language, or best case scenario English, and waiting for everybody to get where you are. I mean, it has been very, very useful, especially in Russia, where, as I was saying, the mentality is pretty different from the one I was used to not only do mine, but know. I mean, in those different wrinkles, but in a kind of a same culture, same civilizations. Like late in Europe, that was a huge difference. I mean, with Canada, that was not a big deal. I mean, of course, you had to adjust, you had to learn, you had to especially understand how different it is to visit for 15 days than to live and to work in a different country, in a different language, in a different league. So it was basically learning. I mean, my first 3-4 months were very, very tough, extremely tough. I had to do a really, really deep, full immersion into culture, terminology, technology, habits, even certain manners, codes into our business, to call it some way. They were tough. Then I would say that after Christmas, February, I was really feeling comfortable, and during the playoff last year, I was really feeling like I was always part of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the things that impressed me when I first spoke to you was how you were willing to start learning the language well before you moved, which is an example of your desire to fit into the culture and be a part of that culture. Now, as a family man, you don't just travel alone. You go with your family. It must be difficult as well for your family as a coach who has a high profile, not only in the Toronto Raptors in the NBA, but also in Spain, where you're the national coach. How do you try to ensure that they have a normal life, so to speak, and protect them from maybe some of the criticism that you might get?
Well, I gotta say the truth. Here in Toronto, my position is from that standpoint. much more comfortable than the head coach
Yeah.
position in Europe, right? Because right there, I mean, everybody stops you, everybody know you, everybody asks you for an autograph, for a picture, or stuff like that, and it can become really annoying, especially when you are traveling with your.
You're too famous.
Excuse me.
You're too famous.
Well, right there can get to a point where can become annoying. Here, it's not happening at all. I mean, people start to recognize you more and more, but just in a very positive way, very nice way. Well, we have won a championship in our first year.
Yeah,
you gotta have the test. You gotta test this when things go bad, right? And see if they're stopping in the same polite way always, or sometimes that, hey, why did you? That's happened. I mean, this is a part. I never was in a really uncomfortable situation. I mean, I never was stopped in the street or in an airport, in a restaurant, and kind of verbally assaulted, and that never happened. What happened in some given year that things are not going too well with your team, and since your kids are going to school, are on internet or on social network, especially, which can be a really a jungle where everybody can say whatever they want in an anonymous way without taking responsibility for what they say. I know for sure as a fact that there was pretty, I would say, more than uncomfortable for my wife, my kids. I'm lucky because my wife was a professional basketball player. She was top level player, and as all top level players, they are consistently under pressure when they don't make 20 points and 4 assists and 8 rebounds. Somebody will immediately say, "Hey, what happened? Bad game. What did you do last night? Or you went out?" So, and she was used to that. She was, and she has a very strong character. She's not too politically correct neither. So she's the one who was answering and responding and fighting back. So but thanks to that, right now she's really absolutely okay, I will defend mine if I feel that is really under attack. But this is not an attack. This is just stupid opinions or rude people who are again hiding behind a nickname or whatever. For the kids, it's different. Kids, I know that they struggle. I know that they suffered when they read some negative opinion or even strong opinion against their dad, but they get adjusted. It's a life lesson. You can't hope everybody love you. That's not in the real life. So they learn it pretty soon in their life.
Well, if you're just joining us, we're talking with Sergio Scariolo, part of the Toronto Raptors program and also the head coach of the Spanish national team. If you have some questions for him, put them in your chat box and we'll get them to him. You experience a lot of pressure as a head coach and as an assistant coach. What do you do to make sure that the pressure doesn't become too much and you burn out or you get too stressed? Do you take part in exercise? Do you do yoga? Do you like reading books? What do you do to kind of get away from the pressure?
Well, actually, I was yesterday watching a TED Talk, and a pretty curious one because an extremely smart psychologist was defending that stress can be good if you accept that stress can be good, and if you accept that it can be handled in the right way and in the right amounts, but can be really a fuel for your energy, for your creativity, and actually this is what I feel, that I barely feel really under pressure. I barely have a feeling of wow, this is overwhelming me, or this is too much, or I mean, it happens when I have too much stuff on my plate in terms of daily schedule, or when I feel that I am leaving something behind, and I hate to do that. But not in terms of how big is the challenge I have in front of me. I always felt a big challenge like a great experience to go through and to try myself able to go over it. So I try to be. I learn to be extremely independent from other people's opinions. Frankly, I'm not too influenceable from medias or even less from social network, all the stuff. Frankly, I really feel that I gotta respect everybody's opinion, but the opinions I really care for are my own team opinions, because we have more, since simply we have more data, more information than anybody else to decide either making a decision on another one. So best case scenario, when something came out from the media, was a good advice, but we have got to their place probably 4 hours before or 6 hours before, because we are working 24 hours on that. So in long story short, I am after a few years of this profession, you learn and you train yourself to really stay away from learn how to stay away from all the stuff which is around your job as a leader of a group, or as a co-leader, or as assistant leader of a group, and just focus on your task, what you have to do, what you have you had to decide, what you had to propose, what you had to adjust, to change, but always according to the very inner circle you have around, not giving too much importance to the outside.
Okay. We have a couple questions from people watching. Steven Herbert says, how do you handle when players are competing in a league against each other, but then have to come together on a national team and play as teammates?
Well, that's a good question, even because in my national team, as you may know, we have people from Madrid, people from Barcelona, people from the Basque Country. So we have not only, let's say, a sport competitiveness, we have something more than that. But, I've been, again, lucky enough that these guys show great class and great understanding of what they were there to do at that given time with the national team. I mean, if you don't feel comfortable with that shirt over your shoulder, you better don't go. And we never had let's say a refusal because of not feeling good with other players coming from different teams or different cities. I made a choice from the very beginning that and we try, and actually we did it. We try to make our kids grow from the U12, from under 12 national team, with that mentality that we are represented from that shirt, not necessarily from their flag, from that national anthem that most of our kids do, of course. I am Italian. I mean, I can say that I'm a little bit, even if I chose to live in Spain, I'm a little bit an outsider from this specific standpoint, because I feel that I respect and love Spanish flag and Spanish national anthem, but I got to feel that my flag and my national anthem are the Italians too, or even before that. So the shirt, because we are representing something, probably one of the most important institutions in basketball all over the world, because given the number of people living in Spain, the morphological structure of the Spanish people is really unbelievable what Spain have been doing in basketball in the last 10, 12 years. So we got to feel that not only proud but conscious that we are really representing something which is so big that is big enough to be our own thing. We don't need to involve political issues or any kind of other issues. We represent ourselves as a Spain, as a national basketball team. So this is us. And again, that's a a big box where everybody can put his own motivation. As I said, somebody can feel really proud and really wanting to give to produce the extra effort for his own country, or for that flag, or get really sucked up from the national anthem. Some others not, but we are a team, and we are proud to be part of that team, because everybody in the world are admiring, and most people are even envying what we have been accomplishing during the last 10 years. So that's our way of filling everybody into the same structure, being part of the same institution.
Another question from one of your colleagues, Adrian Griffin. He was a guest on our show a few weeks ago. He said, you've been a head coach for 30 years. During that time, have you had to adjust your coaching style for today's players?
That's another good question. I'm gonna say, AG, I will tell you later. I'll call you later. No, I'm joking. I mean, that's what I was saying before. You gotta have your own principle. You gotta have your own values, but not too many. I mean, it's one of those is really be able to understand where you are, understand who are the people around you in that specific situation, learn how to listen at them. That's something which I've learned, I wouldn't say that early, but which make a big change in my philosophy, my way of coaching. Sometimes we always spend time to try to figure out what this guy is feeling, what would be comfortable for this guy, how would I approach. I learned that these guys, meaning our players, will be the ones who will give us the keys to approach them, if we will be able to put them in the right situation, in the right environment, to make them feel free to tell us what they really feel, not what we like to hear, but what they really feel. I mean, this is something which players at the beginning are a little bit reluctant to do, but then when they understand that you are not using what they will tell you in a bad way, to divide, to get advantage, and you will be extremely discreet with what they will communicate to you, then my experience is that they will feel more and more free to tell you what they believe, what they really drive them. And as you know, everybody know that 10 players are driven probably from 10 different motivations. Somebody from headlines, the media, sometimes some other from coach rewarding, some other they want to feel respected into their own group from their peers. Money, why not? That there are many different motivations, but if you put them in the right situation, to feel that to make them feel that they can communicate in a pretty honest and straight way, because they're talking to somebody who's loyal to them and to their way of putting you a part of their inside feelings. They will be the ones who will give you the keys to adjust and to understand how people think. I'm not sure that it's a matter of generational. I mean, it's not just generational. Of course, I have teenagers living with me, and I can get help from that. But I think more of human beings, human different characters, personalities, views, values, backgrounds. So it's more of a get one-on-one to know them a little bit deeper and to receive the message, which sometimes you are not ready to receive because you are, so anxious to answer that you are not listening, and you are not listening carefully. And that's what I was saying before. That's what I learned with time, to be able to really, when you are listening, you are listening. Then when they finish to speak, this is your time maybe to talk, but let them really give them time and create the right environment for them to express what they feel in a right way.
I interviewed somebody this morning who talked a lot about how coaches coach. And he said, I asked him for advice from coaches, and for coaches, and he told me that a lot of coaches don't reflect. They spend a lot of time working, they spend a lot of time coaching, but they don't spend any time at all thinking about how they coach and how they can improve. So what are some of the ways that you reflect and try to improve each year and stay motivated?
That's another good point, and I agree. Basically, I agree. So, especially if you get caught into this system where everybody's pulling your jacket, asking you for something, for an interview, for a speech, for an advertising spot, or for a media session, or for charity or media. I mean, there are many excellent say institutions or companies or people who are begging for your time. Then you have to be selective, and you have to keep some of your time for yourself. And most of the time, since I used to work out every day, I keep that time like a little bit time for myself. I make sure that I have a notebook and a pen next to me, and when I don't, I have my phone probably not too far, and I tape a message to myself, because many ideas came out, or many doesn't have to be an idea to something new, or to say something to somebody. For example, make sure that you give a call to this guy, because he's in a kind of a so-and-so situation. You want to find out how he's doing it. Many different. I believe in those times when you are by yourself, you are not really actually working in something, producing something. That's the best time for yourself to produce. Actually, it's a contradiction, but it's not, because I feel that those are excellent. 45, 60 minutes for myself to really think about what I'm doing, what I have to do, or what I have done, but with zero pressure and zero urgency, if we can say it this way.
Well, I'm very grateful for the time that you've given me. I want to end with my final question, unless anybody has any more questions. Looking back on your career, you've coached in multiple countries. You've worked with a variety of players, from kind of the low professional to the superstar in the NBA. If somebody wants to become a coach or improve as a coach, what advice would you give them?
Well, first of all, make sure that you feel a vocational voice speaking to you and telling you to do that.
Because what do you mean? What do you mean by that, vocational voice?
This is a vocation. I think it's like a call. You have to be able to sacrifice so many things, to put there so many hours, to go through so many difficult moments, to be criticized even if you don't deserve that, to get rewarded for way less than you did into an organization. This is a part of coaching as well. So it's not just grab a whiteboard and show in front of national TV a great play, or lift a trophy, or this is or even have a practice and just teach to your player, which at the end of the day, to me, is the best, really the best kind, the real core nature of coaching. There's a lot of stuff around if you want to become a professional coach. So make sure that this is really what you want. That your passion is really so strong that it will drive you through a lot of different or difficult moments. And if that voice is telling you yes, go ahead, at that point, be patient. Don't think that shortcuts will give you the chance to be a better coach. Probably will give you the chance to get the job, but not necessarily to be a better coach, and learn from other coaches. So that's why I feel really lucky, because I had in my early years as a head coach, I had two great, as assistant coach, I had two great head coaches. And I feel fortunate now because I have another great head coach. But those two really taught me at the very beginning of my career, in a great way, basketball as a sport, like strategies, skills, teaching, and basketball as a team activity, team building, motivation, talk to people, listen to people. All these two big souls of being a coach. I mean, the technique and handling a group were there for me very early in my year. So I was lucky, but I encourage young coaches to go looking for that. There are a lot of clinics, you can volunteer, you can go there as an intern, you can do many things to learn and to enrich your knowledge, because you get a filter and transfer to your players a very limited part of your knowledge. But to do that, you got to have a very huge knowledge behind it. So try make sure that learning is never stopping. I mean, I've been around for a while, and I want to finish every day having learned something new, which can be two sentences in a book, which I think I may use, or whatever. But keep learning. This is long story short, my advice.
It's great advice, and it's why we're doing these interviews, so that we can learn from coaches who have been very successful, such as yourself. Also, note on your screen, if you can, there's a monthly newsletter you can subscribe to where we provide some information for coaches. Sergio, thank you so much for joining me today. I do appreciate your time and willingness to contribute, and you've said a lot of valuable information. Thank you.
Thank you, team. Take care. Thank you, everybody. Good luck.
Thank you. Well, just a reminder, coming up on Monday, Drew Watson is an athletic director for Southeastern University. He'll be sharing his experiences managing multiple teams and what that's like and how he got there. But from myself and Sergio, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on Monday.